Good morning. Welcome to another installment of App Marketing Conversations. I am Ryan Morrell with GameHouse. As always, I'm here with Ian Sefferman of Mobile Dev HQ, Roby Ganguly of Apptentive. How are we doing this morning, guys?
Great.
Well, good. So today we're going to talk about two separate apps, and one which has seen a continued run of success, almost like no other, and another, the second is a new one. So the first is Candy Crush, and seems like everyone on the planet has played Candy Crush at this point. Everyone seems to, except for you. Everyone has probably paid for something in Candy Crush. And so this morning, Ian, you were looking at it and saw that it's still number 3 overall top download. Number 2.
Number 3 overall top downloads.
And number 2 top grossing.
And number 2 top grossing.
And so we have to be going on 6 months, 9 months, 12 months.
That's a long time. Whatever. I can't remember the first time I saw it there.
Yeah. So I think the first question is, at least that I have, and we can talk about some of the things that they've done to be successful later, but how are they still acquiring users at this point?
I am constantly amazed at the places that I see Candy Crush Saga show up now. Right? I was impressed when it went to in-app advertising and on other apps, and I was like, wow. They actually have some budget. Like I'm seeing them on a regular basis.
I feel like we talked about that a few months ago. In one of these.
Ian did the funny kind of voice that he's on TV.
And then I saw it on TV. Now I hear it on the radio. It's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are clearly finding general interest, middle America type folks.
Yeah. Well, I think the interesting thing, especially is when you compare Candy Crush to like Clash of Clans and Heyday, is they aren't necessarily in the top download,
right?
Like to the point that Candy Crush is, but they're always in the same top grossing.
Yes.
So, does that mean that their users are churning more? There's just more people who are willing to pay Candy Crush than Heyday and Clash of Clans, or is that something for them to be worried about in the long term, do you think?
For Clash of Clans to worry about?
No, for
Candy Crush?
Candy Crush. That was a really well-phrased question.
Yeah. So, I think what you, and some of our customers have seen this, is the longer time you are out, you better hope that the more generally applicable you are. Otherwise, your cost per install goes way up, right? Because you have to find the right targeted folks after not being able to, after expending all of those folks. So Candy Crush is in a good spot because anybody can use it on the bus, anybody can use it on the plane, right? There's a lot of places for the general consumer. They obviously have to hit a saturation point at some point.
Yeah.
I have no idea what their international usage looks like, so my guess is if they're 50% of the way there in the United States, what are they internationally, and is that where they need to go next?
Yeah.
And does that have the same monetization?
What do you think?
I mean, I think that stepping back for a bit, right? It's kind of funny how we look at this and say, wow, it's amazing that we're hearing it on the radio, right? And that people are still downloading this because, I don't know, 15 years ago, a movie comes out, you would hear it across all those channels, and sometimes it would flop, and sometimes it would do really well. I mean, like Titanic for 9 months is sort of top the charts, opening in new theaters, and you're like, oh, well, that's just an incredibly successful movie. So, I mean, it sort of feels like incredibly successful media franchises have very long legs, and they do cover a lot of people, right? We just feel very shocked by it now because media has become so fractured, but there are universal things.
But there is a little bit of difference in there, right? Which is Titanic is a massive budget, by all accounts expected to do massive amounts of money, right? Whereas a Candy Crush is a relatively simple thing that was able to start here. It's like an indie film, right? Which does well at one random film festival.
The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, the Blair Witch Project. That's a great example. Yeah. So it's slightly different, right? People get surprised by Blair Witch Project, while they might not get surprised by the Titanic.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. And I think that sort of speaks to the way that the distribution model has really turned things on their head too. Because why was Titanic so expensive? Well, part of it was so that the whole story around the movie could start off being like, wow, this is a huge, big budget film. You know?
Yeah.
I think the really interesting thing here is that, to some extent, the dream is alive, right?
Yeah.
And King is a well-established, large company that has resources, but there's other companies who have done similar things that's kind of started from nothing. And
I mean,
the three
King
of us,
King is a well-established company, but it's only a few years old, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. But it's a stat, like some
totally.
amount of
Yeah.
revenue. The three of us couldn't go make Titanic, right? But we probably couldn't go build an app either. But three people could and do it well, and all of a sudden create this huge franchise. That's, you know, how much is King bringing in on Candy Crush every day? Maybe $1 million a day.
I would think at least.
At least. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
This is available for kind of pretty much anybody. Obviously, you got to do a lot of things right. But, so congratulations to King, and hopefully they keep it up.
Yeah.
So second thing is the release of Plants vs. Zombie 2 last week, which they denoted in the name It's About Time, because it took them so long to get it out. But I think the interesting thing they did was, you know, PopCap has long been a company focused on essentially the downloadable space. Pay $9.99, $19.99 to get a game, and it's yours, and everything in it is yours. And Plants vs. Zombies is one of their first really big moves away from that model into the free-to-play model, which I think they've done really well. So as of today, it sits at number 1 top downloads, number 20 top grossing, something like 16 to probably 20 million downloads at this point in the first week, which is fantastic. So,
awesome.
what have you seen from the game itself or from PopCap about their move into free-to-play and kind of how they thought about that?
So I haven't installed Plants vs. Zombies 2 yet, but I mean, from all external perspectives, it looks like moving to free to play is still the way of the future. It becomes better and better every day. Like the opportunities to get in front of more people as a publisher and as a marketer, and then to monetize from there becomes easier.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting too, because if we look back, I don't know how long ago it was now, almost a year maybe, when PopCap had been integrated into EA and part of that, and then there were layoffs, and the part of the layoffs they were talking about where their business was shifting to, right? And they specifically said the shift to free-to-play has surprised us, and that's why we're making aggressive moves right now. And it looks like, hopefully inside they feel like that was the right bet, but it looks like externally, right, they've put resources on the right stuff.
Yeah. I think so I have played it, maybe a little too much. The interesting thing is I think this is a really good case study in how you can use free-to-play for games that aren't necessarily like consumable, I need to buy more coins, I need to buy more coins, I need to buy more mana, right? I mean, there is some aspect of that, but one of the things that I really like and I really appreciate as a consumer is it's really clear what you're getting for the money you spend.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to play these additional 5 levels? Great, it's $1.99.
So do they actually have then like what are the mechanics like? Is it sort of you've reached this point, you cannot go any further unless you pay?
You can go back and play through everything again and try to get more stars and more keys and all this stuff, or you can just pay.
Got it.
You don't pay? Great. Take your money. And the thing that I like about that is, we've started to see this a little bit more, especially with the removal of the Xbox points, is the move away from, you know, platform-specific currencies and coins into just dollar amounts that people really understand. So because it's easy to codify in your head. It's like, oh, this is $1 if I want to play. Well, yeah, it's worth $1 to me, so I'm going to pay that. Oh, it's worth 500 coins. How much is 500 coins? I don't really know.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think for companies that are looking to make a move away from kind of straight paid games into free-to-play, they paved a really nice path that you can follow.
Yeah.
So, anything else to add here, guys?
Nice job to both King and PopCap.
Yeah. Can we have some of that? All right. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and watch the other segments from Ian and Roby.